this is the time that we traditionally go to Wellington and we go and talk to Councillor Tony Randle on our letter from Wellington. And welcome to the show again, Tony. Nice to have you on.
Good to see you.
I see. I can't see you. You can see me. Aren't you lucky? Listen, I get an email. It's this one here. I'll show it to you. See, there's that one there. And it's from... I put myself on the mailing list of this group called Vision for Wellington, this group of luminary worthies who are meant to be saving Wellington from itself after realising that it was in all sorts of problems. To be honest, mate, what a bunch of wankers. I say that because here they are inviting me again to another meeting where I can go to a TED-style presentation at the Star Boating Club this Thursday and talk to a whole group of people about having a bold, uplifting conversation about how Wellington can grab global attention and become truly distinctive. Mate, what are these people on?
So I've been to a couple of Vision for Wellington presentations, TED Talks, if you like, and they are talk fests, that's true. They really want to have a conversation about where Wellington's going wrong, but they don't seem to be very action-focused to say we have to change the people who are sitting around the council table to change the conversation.
No.
And so...
They dance, well, they don't dance. They deliberately steer away from all of the things that would allow what change to occur in Wellington. And obviously that's political change and leadership change. But here they are, sort of out in some Elysian field somewhere, smoking dope on a Sunday afternoon and saying how beautiful the sunshine is. Seriously, there's something wrong with these people.
I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to say that they're out of touch there, Michael. No, they're not. They really are Wellingtonians through and through.
Exactly. They're true Wellingtonians through and through, talk about everything, do nothing, and the water comes out of the ground because they haven't bothered to plan for it. It's true Wellingtonians. You're absolutely right, Tony. Maybe I've got it right. They're representative.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Thanks for that. Look, we have a city. The problem I have with Vision for Wellington is they're not addressing the real problem of our governance. And the real problem of our governance is that the council's been captured by the political parties, especially the Green Party, and they're doing the things that Green Party wants to be done. And even though the whole city, I think most of the city recognises it's not working, talking more about, you're right in the sense that more talk isn't going to change things. We need the people who are sitting around the council table, a lot of them are not listening to the real pain that's out there. And that's really what's going to make the difference in the upcoming election. Tory has sort of stepped aside as mayor, but in some of the reviews of her, they're saying that her biggest failure really is her inability to grasp that the city is in pain and to sort of change course. She's determined to continue on as if we're in 2021. Okay. And it's quite a different city and quite a different economy now.
Yes, but Vision for Wellington was meant to include Bob Jones, I think, who's deceased. But Vision for Wellington was meant to be a whole series of worthies. You had ex-political leaders, you had Fran Wild and Kerry Prendergast. You had former Governor-Generals. You had luminaries from the arts and entertainment and communications. God, you had Bigs for Pigs. You had all those doolally liberals in Wellington. They were meant to provide... Wellington doesn't need a vision. Wellington needs people who can actually drive a truck, get things done, as we've talked about, ensure that change will occur. Isn't Wellington's problem that... And my personal view is, Tony, as you're probably aware, that Vision for Wellington is part of the problem, not part of the solution, because they just want to keep on talking in their rather stuffy way that they do, rather than actually do anything hard and edgy that might actually get something done.
Yeah, I think it's not that they're. Look, I'm going to say you may be right. It's really the relevance of what their exercise is to getting the council to change. For the council to change to a new vision, they first have to be listening. And the problem with this council is it's not listening. That's the problem. And you need to solve the problem before you. If the people aren't listening, then the only solution is to change the people, change the mayor. And hopefully, well, certainly we are not going to continue with the same mayor, being Tory since he's dropped out of the race. But you're right in the sense that when you're looking at people like Vision for Wellington, they can come up with a great new vision, but that new vision has to be embraced by the council and other leaders, including the regional council, and it has to also be able to be funded from councils who have no money.
Well, no, but the other thing that strikes me is if these people were really sincere, Tony, if these people were sincere, stand yourself, offer that leadership, put yourself into the framework, stop talking on the sides of things of the stage. And like I say, I think one of the problems with Wellington has always been it talks too much and does too little. Listen, just on that though, can I say, Tori Whanau was quoted last week as saying, I think she was identifying you actually. She was quoted as saying that as a progressive mayor, you had to deal with the old guard resistant to change. And she condemned the old guard for holding Wellington back. Are you part of the old guard?
No, not at all. Just a Wellingtonian.
Who is she talking about then? Who does she think the old guard is, if it's not you?
I think she set up a straw man to knock down. I think she thinks that there's behind the scenes a whole lot of people scheming. There's literally no reason. Wellington Council has made a lot of decisions and spent an enormous amount of money. And for her to say that she's been stopped is simply not true. She has kept on going and kept spending money on Thornton Quay and all these other projects. And people are, the problem she has is that people in Wellington saying, this is not what we want. So for her to say that she's been stopped by public pressure and the sheer logic of the stupidest projects like the Reading deal and the airport share sale. The logic of all of those are what's forced her to stop. And whatever losses she's had are due to that. It's due to Wellington just standing up and saying stop. But she's also continuing on. She's, even this week we're about to approve yet another street where the council's going to come along and transform it. That is, remove all the car parks for cycleways. And the businesses there, again, like they are all across the city saying, don't do this. Yet here we have a decision and it will probably pass on Thursday with her votes and the support of her Green councillors.
She also says that, quote unquote, being Wahine Maori has posed extra difficulties. And she cited the treatment of other Maori politicians such as Tamitha Paul, Marama Davidson and Materia Ture. She said there were double standards for women, especially Wahine Maori, and the negativity had also moved on to the rainbow community. Politics at the moment, she says, has become quite an ugly place, and I'm just an example of part of that. Do you agree?
No, not at all. I think Wellington Council has more women representatives than men. Wellington is, if anywhere in New Zealand is empowering to women, it's Wellington.
Yeah, but I think she's talking about Maori women. She says Maori women are particularly at risk.
This council is so supportive of our iwi partners that we put the Te Reo words first on all of our publications. So you go to the library and the headings across the tops of the bookshelves are in Te Reo and with English in smaller letters below. We are as empowering as we can be, and yet it still seems that that it's not enough. And you've got to ask that in the end, people also need to be measured not on who they are, but on their competency to do the job. And, that's where I think most people would like a council that can just get on and do the job, get a leader that can do the job. And I think that on that front, that's where I've criticised Tory. She can't do the job.
Okay. Now, since also we talked, I think Craig Little said, Andrew Little, the Labour leader, or the former Labour leader, that if he gets to be mayor of Wellington, he won't make Tory whānau his deputy, although she did seem to be angling to that. Listen, the difference between Andrew Little and Tory whānau, really, in real terms, it's not great, is it? Because although they may look different and obviously be different genders and ethnicities, their politics is pretty much the same, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't seen too much difference, but Andrew, it's early days for Andrew. He's actually in the same position Tory was when she came in. That is, he's not had much to do with local council. I mean, he may have been a long-term Wellingtonian, but I don't think he's even done a submission to council, turned up and said, don't do the Island Bay Cycleway, or do the Island Bay Cycleway, even though he lives in that community. So is he able to know what the real issues are? I want to cut him some slack for his first month or so to see, so that he can dive in and really consolidate whether or not he's going to be listen to the feelings that are out there and get engaged with that, or whether he's just going to pick up the Labour Party manifesto and continue on.